We'll first talk about the extending entities. Okay, suppose yesterday we have learned about the rules and the best practices. If we want to extend any entity or we want to create any new entity, what rules we need to follow, but how to do that in the studio that we need to. That we are going to do that today, right? How, if we want to add a column? So there are certain steps involved for this one. So okay, I'll directly. So this is the editor. Entity editor. You can type Ctrl-Shift-N and then type. Yes, Ctrl-Shift-N, then type the name AB contact. Okay, so it will open the entity for you. AB, contact text, ATI, anything you can open. AB contact. Okay, so this is the entity editor ED. Yeah. Okay, so if you want to, you have some requirement to add a field in the AB contact entity, right? So how you are gonna, where you're gonna add the field, okay. I'll check whether there is an ETI file or not. Okay, ETI file is present. Okay, now I will check whether there is an ETS, because there is no _ext. I'll check whether there is an _ETS there or not. Okay, _ETS is also there. Okay, so I will. I don't need to create any new file. I will just create my column here with _ext. _ext we have to give y. Because the subcontacted also doesn't have _ext, right? The main motto of adding _ext is to differentiate between the already existing, its out-of-the-box files and the custom files. But this AB contact is not created by the developers. It is out of the box because it is not suffixed with _ext. If we will not add in our field _ext, right, we'll not be able to differentiate our field with all these fields which are mentioned. _ext is not mandatory. It can be anything, any organization, specific name. So _ext is we are using for our reference here for training purpose. But it can be _op. The client name. So you can see here buildings _ext. So by this I can know that. Okay, this is the field which is not out of the box. This is custom. This is a custom field which is created by some other developer before me. So that's how? Because? But if suppose in my AB contact entity would contain _ext, right? So in that case I will, while adding the field here. I will not add _ext, because this entity name is already _ext. And this tells me this is a custom entity. So all the fields would be custom, which are created here automatically. So now, if we want to add a field here, right, what we can have to do. If you want to have a typeless field, so we will add a type key. As we have done it for a vendor type, right? So we'll add a type key. Then we'll give the typeless name. Suppose vendor type. Okay, we have given this name. Then we have to give the actual typeless name which we want to reference. Vendor type OK. Null OK. Null OK means this field. If this field is null for any object, is it fine? It will not throw any error. We'll mark it as true. It means it is not mandatory field and description of the field, like stores, the vendor type. That's it. So these 4 are the mandatory fields, which is added. Okay, so there are so many other properties also. Those are optional. And in the default field, for example, we'll have the default value. Suppose there is its vendor type value doesn't contain anything. We'll mention the default value of it, okay. Like vendor type okay. So you can see all the entries came here. Right, I can select any one of that comment. Okay, I got an error. A field name. Vendor type is already defined. I'll give the name as vendor type. Custom vendor type. So that my field name is changed. Type, _ext we can give. Custom vendor type _ext. Okay, now if I will do Ctrl S. It will not throw me any error. So I have added with the type T. Suppose I need to add the column OK. I will add a column, and what I'll give. Suppose I'll give a nickname. Type of the column I would give. Varchar OK. Null. Okay, I need to give true. Okay, and description. I will give nickname of the contact. So these are the 4 fields. Column name would be something in backend, which what name you want to give in the backend entity. So it will take the same name. If you leave it blank, it will be with the same name only. Nickname, but if you'll give some other column name, the backend entity would be created with some in the backend table, right? It will be having some different name, which we'll mention here. But generally we don't actually, I would say 99% in the project. Also, we don't use all these fields, okay. Mostly, we will use, because there is one field required, okay. That is also always kept false. Why? Because the required field is. When we mark it as false, null. Okay, as false, it will behave as required okay. If we want to delete some field, right, we don't delete it directly. That right-click and delete. We don't do it like that. We have to make deprecated as true. So that's why, and allow initial value for upgrade. So initial, you can mark it as true, okay. So what it will give you. So initial value. You can assign any initial value if you'll mark it as true, right. So, while software upgrade, right. The entities would not be having any values, right. And when you will upgrade that. So it will default this column with some X name, okay. So default value, you can mention it here. If that is null. So that's so many, but you will know in your day-to-day activities, right, you will only need these 4. Okay. So this is how you add the column name, but you can see that we have defined these 4 things, but still you are getting. The column nickname does not have a column parameter size. Required for where can data type. So for where can data type, we need to add a column perm as well. Okay. So column perm size. So it's written here. We have to we need to define the size of also other worker, right? We'll define We have to define the size of it, and we'll say 50.